So Shavasana is far more than just a reward for going through physical postures in a class. It's actually a beginning and a continuation of an intention that you've set. Namaste, everybody. I'm Don. Welcome to Smart Yoga. I want to talk about one of the most important parts and not very well understood parts of yoga, and that is Shavasana. You know, the very end of the class where for 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, depending on the class and the teacher, that you are in, it's very relaxing. It's not uncommon for some folks to fall asleep during it, but you're missing kind of one of the bigger benefits. To begin, okay, yoga is a physical activity. Most people initially approach it as a way to get flexible, get in shape, stretch, feel good, right? Purely a physical mindset. Then as you get into it, you realize some of the mental or cerebral aspects of it where you could connect with your intentions, meaning you want to connect with your higher self, you might have heard, where there are certain things that you know you're missing either in your habits, in your life, in your personality, what have you, but that you believe in, and so you'd like to acquire those. Maybe you want to be more assertive. Maybe you want to become a better listener. Whatever it may be. Or there are the restraints. There are things that you don't want to be manifesting in your life. Maybe you get angry too quickly. Maybe you have monkey mind and your mind goes all over the place. So you think you have ADD and or whatever you might be thinking. Yoga can take you to that next. It's designed to go to that next step beyond the physical. And that's what I want to talk to you about with Shavasana, just so you have a little bit more understanding, and then you can determine how you'll understand it and process it when you take your classes, or if you're a teacher, when you teach them, and what you will share with your students. Shavasana is so often viewed as the end of a class. And I want to give you a different perspective on it, that it's really not merely the end of a class, or not the end of a class at all. It's a beginning or a continuation of an intention. I'll analogize it to a high school commencement where, there's the graduation and they call it commencement. You've just done 4 years of high school and now graduation day is here and it's commencement day. And commencement means beginning. It doesn't mean an ending. And so even though you've just completed 4 years, it's the next step on your journey. And that's what Shavasana is when it's conceptualized as the single-minded focus or single-pointed focus where you're focusing on the intention that you had set at the beginning of class. So, if your intention is to become, let's say, a better listener, or a less angry person, or more patient, where you just take a little more time to see life unfolding around you, any of a myriad number of possibilities, millions of things that you could decide upon. You set your intention at the beginning of a class, and the residual energy through the postures that you're working on begin to become eliminated. The energy that causes monkey mind begins to drift away as you're exerting yourself through physical postures. So that when you're in Shavasana, and I've spoken about this in other videos, but I want to emphasize it, when you're in Shavasana, You can focus on one thing, and that is the thing that is your intention that you set at the beginning of a class. Now, if your intention is to be, say, more patient, it's not going to happen in one class. It's going to be repeated. You're going to focus on becoming more patient. So you're going to move more slowly through your postures. Let's say it's your very first class in which you've set that intention to become more patient. So you get through the postures, and you're in Savasana, and you're focused as best you can on how patient were you? How could you be more patient? Maybe you're just quietly focusing on the word patient, visualizing it in your mind, however you process that. But then you leave the studio and you're going out in your normal life, and now you've got a frame of reference on which to base whether or not you're being more patient out there in life, regular life, as opposed to on the mat. Well, this is very good because your focus is beginning to turn inward to seeing if you're actually becoming that higher self. So the next time you come to your yoga class, maybe the next day, it might be the next week, could be 2-3 days later, whatever it is. Now you're back in your practice and you set that intention again of being more patient. And you'll begin to see more and more things in you that are working against your patience and in favor of it. Because it's not all bad. There are certain things, if you're going to see the bad or the undesirable things in you, you got to be willing to see the good things as well. So then you begin to focus more. Your focus is drawn to that element of what you believe in would constitute you being your higher self or your better self or the self that you better believe in. You believe in a better way, put it that way. Shavasana is that single pointed focus so that it's really a beginning to going off the mat and into your regular life, if you want to call it that. I consider yoga every bit as much a part of my regular life. I don't compartmentalize it in that regard, but it does provide a basis of comparison for you to see if in your interactions off the mat, whether or not you're accommodating that intention, whether you're becoming that intention. So Shavasana is far more than just a reward for going through physical postures in a class. It's actually a beginning and a continuation of an intention that you've set. So there's a bit more of what Shavasana is. Who knew? I sure didn't. I used to call it, when I first started yoga, I used to refer to it as sleepy time, even though I wouldn't fall asleep during it, but it was very restful. But in that rest is where you can engage that single-minded or single-pointed focus to continue the mental work, the cerebral, the thoughtful work of becoming your better self, your higher self. And you could just become more pleased and peaceful with who you are, but that does take work. So that's what I wanted to share about Shavasana. It's a lot of fun, I've got to say. When you start to see improvement and it's coming from within and you sense it, you feel it, you know it, it's a wonderful feeling, and you know that you're responsible for it because you're the one that put the work in. You're the one that set your ambition, your desire to become that better person. So I honor you truly. And when I say namaste, it means I honor the light that's in you, that's also in me, and hopefully we'll enlighten each other on this journey of life. Okay. Namaste. I'll see you on another video.